every office has that one person, the one who stirs the pot, causes drama, and somehow never gets caught doing it. For Janine, that person was a woman nicknamed Dizzy. Not her real name, of course, but one that fit her erratic, manipulative behavior to a T. At first glance, Dizzy came across as friendly and bubbly, the type who brings in cookies for the office and always has something loud and overly cheerful to say. But beneath that saccharine surface was a person who thrived on chaos. Janine, more reserved and professional, saw through it early on. Dizzy's modus operandi was classic manipulation. She'd cozy up to the managers, pretend to be the overworked martyr, and constantly exaggerate her health problems to get sympathy and time off. One week it was migraines. The next, dizzy spells, hence the nickname. If it wasn't health-related, it was some vague personal crisis that required her to leave early or call out. Meanwhile, she treated her coworkers like trash. She'd forget to pass on messages, take credit for other people's work, and stir up gossip to pit colleagues against each other. One day, Janine walked in on Dizzy, whispering that another coworker was too slow and probably on something. The target? A single mother of two who had just returned from maternity leave. But what made Dizzy truly unbearable was the endless wedding talk. She was engaged to a man named Ethan, who none of them had met, but Dizzy mentioned constantly. Every conversation seemed to circle back to her upcoming wedding, the colors, the venue, the dress, the guest list. She even brought in a binder labeled Our Dream Wedding and made a point to flip through it during lunch breaks, as if hoping someone would ask about it. At the same time, it became obvious to many, Janine included, that Dizzy was having an affair with a younger coworker. She'd flirt shamelessly with him in the office, always finding excuses to touch his arm, sit beside him in meetings, or leave together at the end of the day. Once, Janine spotted them walking into a nearby hotel during lunch. She didn't say anything, but she noticed. Janine wasn't the type to confront someone, especially someone as volatile as Dizzy. But she also wasn't the type to ignore blatant injustice. So she did something else. She started quietly documenting Dizzy's behavior. Emails she claimed she never received. Janine BCC'd herself. Times Dizzy left early, feigning illness. Janine made note of it. Comments made in the break room? Janine jotted them down in a personal file. Over time, she compiled a folder of Dizzy's antics, not to use, not yet, but to have, just in case. Then came the turning point. It started with Dizzy bragging about a girls' trip she took over the weekend with her besties, showing off blurry beach photos and talking about how wild the nights had been. But Janine noticed something odd. One of the pictures had been taken in front of a hotel in the next town over. The same hotel Janine had seen Dizzy enter with the younger coworker. Still, Janine said nothing. What she did do was print out one of those photos and slip it anonymously into a folder addressed to Ethan. Along with it, she included copies of messages Dizzy had accidentally left open on a shared work computer, explicit ones between her and her young lover, and a short, polite note. Thought you should know. A week passed. Then 2. Dizzy continued her usual nonsense, oblivious to what was coming. Then came the day. That morning, the office was buzzing from the start. Ethan, whom no one had ever seen in person, showed up at reception, calm but stone-faced. He asked to speak to Dizzy. She bounded over, gushing in her usual sugary tone, and led him to the break room with a flirty smile. 15 minutes later, the shouting started. Ethan's voice carried throughout the entire floor. He read her text messages out loud, held up printed photos, and demanded to know how long it had been going on. Dizzy tried to spin it, crying, denying, even faking one of her infamous dizzy spells. But this time, no one believed her. Ethan walked out, dropping a manila envelope full of evidence on the front desk. Dizzy followed him, hysterical, but it was too late. The damage was done. That afternoon, HR called her in. Multiple coworkers had come forward with their own stories, how she'd made them feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or taken advantage of. The young coworker she'd been fooling around with, he confirmed everything, said he thought she was single, showed texts, emails. By the end of the day, Dizzy was escorted out of the building, red-faced and sobbing. Janine never said a word. She didn't gloat, didn't smirk, didn't hint at what she'd done. But she slept like a baby that night. Over the next few weeks, the office returned to normal. No more drama, no more whispered lies, no more sudden, suspicious sick days. Everyone seemed lighter, freer, even more productive. As for Janine, she shredded her folder. She didn't need it anymore. Dizzy had finally been exposed, and the best part was Janine never had to lift a finger publicly. She let Dizzy self-destruct with just a little nudge in the right direction.